Dead America, Lowcountry Part 9. Written by Derek Slaton. Narrated by Aaron Smith. Chapter 1. Day 0 plus 12. The sunlight crept through the cracks in the makeshift curtains the group had hung on the windows in the classrooms. It was a collection of flags, wall maps, and rolling blackboards, and they did a decent job of keeping the room dark most of the time, save for when the sun was in the process of rising and shone directly on that side of the building. Despite his best efforts, Dante was unable to avoid the light. Even pulling the covers over his head wasn't enough to prevent the room from being too bright for him to continue sleeping. Once he gave in to the realization that he was awake, he tossed the cover off of his head and flopped onto his back in a huff. "I just had to pick an east-facing room," he muttered. He laid there for a moment before looking over from his gym mat bed to the makeshift cot next to him. Normally, Lily was laying there, but that particular morning she was already gone. "Man, how late did I sleep in?" he thought, shaking his head. Time didn't really matter much in the zombie apocalypse, with no time cards to punch or jobs to be late for. No rush-hour traffic and meaningless TPS reports. At least it wasn't all bad. He pulled himself up off of the ground, cracking several joints as he stretched. While he was happy to have a safe place to sleep, the thin mats weren't cutting it in regards to comfort, despite being stacked 3 high. He walked towards the door, weaving his way around the maze of desks that they'd haphazardly shoved out of the way to create a path. Just before he reached the door, it opened, and Lily popped in, startling at the sight of him. "Morning, sleepyhead," she said when she regained her composure. "Thought you were down for the count?" He smirked. "Going to take more than those mats to take me out," he replied. She winked at him and then held out a cup of coffee. He took it and took a deep whiff, moaning softly. "You really are an angel, you know that?" he asked. "And don't you forget it," she replied with another wink. "Henry needed the solar power juice for his greenhouse lights, so I had to go with instant coffee instead of brewed. Hope it's still okay." He reached out and took her hand. "It's hot, has caffeine, and I didn't have to make it," he said. "It's perfection." She grinned up at him, giving his hand an affectionate squeeze. They'd come from completely different worlds, and maybe, without the apocalypse, they never would have crossed paths. But he couldn't help but be happy they had. "So, what's on tap for today?"
Sample complete. Ready to continue?